Before we get to the movie, I understand you just had some bats in your house.
Yeah.
This has happened to me before as well, and there's nothing like a bat in the house to make you realize how terrible a husband you are.
Well, that wasn't the case for me.
Well, good for you.
Although there was a bit with me walking down the hallway like a ghost because I had a sheet over my head. And I'm like, Christina, you're going to need to open up that door. And you know how comedy works in threes?
Yes.
I think thrillers have to work in 3+1 at least. And after the third time, you're like, oh, this is never going to happen. I'm losing hope. And now the bat knows who's attached to this net that's swinging at it.
Sure.
And then the fourth time you get it.
Right.
But for that little moment, it's a horror movie.
Well, at least you didn't get bit. I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. I have a movie right here in the envelope for us to watch, but I have to admit I'm a little nervous because this could be a mistake.
Yeah?
I might have picked the wrong movie for us to watch. If we never live dangerously, then what's the point of life? So I hope that this trip we take tonight to the City of Lights leaves you saying, Paris, je t'aime.
Oh!
Released in 2006, PJT consists of 18 different short films that each take place in a different arrondissement of Paris. These divisions are according to postal code, as far as I know. I guess you could call them neighborhoods as well.
Yeah.
The various directors include the Coen brothers, Wes Craven, Alfonso Cuarón, Gerard Depardieu, Alexander Payne, Tom Tykwer, Basement alum Gus Van Sant, and Basement Hall of Famer Vincenzo Natali, among others.
Anyone good in this?
It stars Juliette Binoche, Willem Dafoe, Gerard Depardieu, Marianne Faithfull, Ben Gazzara, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Bob Hoskins, Margot Martindale, Emily Mortimer, Nick Nolte, Natalie Portman, Miranda Richardson, Ludivine Sagnier, Barbette Schrader, Rufus Sewell, Elijah Wood, and Basement alums Steve Buscemi and Gina Rowlands, among others.
And that was our show. Thank you for stopping by. We only have 25 minutes for this.
Following the success of Paris, Je t'aime, there were more I Love You anthology movies to follow. One set in New York in 2009, Rio in 2014, and Berlin in 2019. Have you been to Paris?
No.
Well, it's time for you to start planning a trip there, but you cannot go to the fashion capital of the world with unsightly calluses.
It is a pumice stone. You know I walk around with sandals and barefoot all the time.
All right, so get out of that boulangerie or that bibliothèque and go on over to the old leather couch as we prepare to take in the sights and sounds of Paris, Je t'aime. No, I'm not going to understand this movie. Damn it.
No.
I can never get Celsius. Look at all those arrondissements.
Yes.
All of them right there.
Allons, citoyen.
Our journey through the streets of Paris begins in Montmartre, where a cranky man is parking a car and looking back on his life.
But what he's really looking for is not a parking spot. It is love.
Enfin, je comprends pas comment j'ai tout pour plaire. Je suis encore beau, souple.
I've got a patchy beard.
Mon univers, c'est une boîte à gants. Rien.
What's this? A woman passed out on the sidewalk. Let's put her into my car, and then everyone just leaves. So I, a stranger, can take care of the unconscious woman.
Pouvez couper la musique, s'il vous plaît?
Oui.
I'm mostly into trip-hop. Do you have any trip-hop?
No, I only have the music that you hear in a movie where they don't have much budget for music.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. I'm in the wrong car.
I have an appointment with my tobaccologist.
And he gives her a ride.
And they fall in love.
Meanwhile, in Quai de Fête, 3 young punks harass young ladies.
Vous êtes charmante à croquer aujourd'hui.
Quand tu seras assez vieux pour te raser, tu me fais signe.
Le burn malade. A woman falls down, and one of the young punks isn't such a punk after all. He gets up to go help her.
They make a meaningful connection, and he learns stuff about other cultures.
He thinks he might be in love with her, and he goes to the mosque and she meets him on the way out with her grandpa. Le Marais. Years later, Gus Van Sant would do a shot-for-shot remake of this short film that he did in this movie. It was very strange.
British chanteuse Marianne Faithfull goes to this print shop.
Have you got something that you can...
I'm sorry, Marianne, you're supposed to speak in broken English. That's kind of your thing. And this young man talks to this young man. He has a lot to say.
Pas très bavard.
In these 20 seconds I've known you, your lack of talking tells me everything.
Tu crois aux esprits? Moi, je suis à fond dans ces trucs-là.
I also have really shaky social boundaries.
We should talk because I feel something right now. Turns out the guy who was talking to doesn't speak French very well.
At the Tuileries, there is a tourist dans le métro. It's this man. You know him. You know him from movies. What's the rumpus? Anyone? Anyone? The rumpus? Can anyone here tell me what the rumpus is?
Toiletries, first floor. He's learning all about France. He notices lovers across the way.
The guidebook tells him not to make eye contact with people in Le Metro because they get upset at you, and that's what happens.
Qu'est-ce que tu regardes, connard?
I was the rumpus the whole time. The girl comes over and starts kissing on him.
Get ready for violence because the Coen brothers are in charge.
This is some kind of subway game that these two play.
Whoa!
Tuileries. At the Bastille, there's no storming going on, but there is a man who is going to leave his wife. He's having an affair with a little stewardess.
She breaks down crying. She's been to the doctor. She's got leukemia and she's gonna die.
And he makes a split-second decision to not do the thing he was going to do. He stays with his wife and takes care of her throughout her illness. She dies, and he spends the rest of his life being sad. The stewardess, by the way, was fine.
Sad enough for you? Well, check this one out. Plat de Victoire. Yeah, you're laughing now, Matt, at my bad French.
This woman is grieving the loss of her son.
He was obsessed with cowboys.
Just ask Sam Shepard. He wrote a weird play about two of them. She hears his voice late at night.
Maman, je peux sortir pour voir les copains?
At this hour? No! Go back to haunting me!
And she goes out into the street. Where are you? Robert, or whatever the kid's name is. Robert? It's not, I don't know. That's probably not Robert. A cowboy rides up.
You want to see your little boy? Do you really have the courage to follow me?
Are you fond of me, lobster? She is reunited with her dead son, but then she realizes that he's dead and she needs to pay attention to the people who are still living. Yeah, I'm really not that crazy about Willem Dafoe.
What?
I much prefer Willem Defriend.
Now where? Paris? Again?
It's all Paris.
It's all Paris? How big is this city?
18 arrondissements. Tour Eiffel.
A little boy tells a story about how his parents met in prison. His dad's a mime.
I'm sure this man's clown name is Monsieur Chouchou.
And he goes about his day-to-day routine, tormenting the people of Paris.
We know that mimes can be a bit much. The body-shaming mime. A little racist. I'm starting to like this guy less and less. Yeah, get him. Kill Whitey. But he gets in some trouble and he's thrown in jail.
With a female mime. And they fall in love and they go about doing mimey things together.
You know, Craig, everyone deserves to be happy.
Yeah?
Except mimes.
Oh, I don't believe so. Nobody deserves to be happy.
Quartier des Enfants Rouges. The red babies are in full effect there, and Ken goes and buzzes a buzzer at a party. He's looking for Liz. Maggie G.
He's a drug dealer.
She's an American actress, and she's getting high before the scene.
I'd love to see you. Let's exchange numbers. I'm going to call up the drug dealer, acting like I need more drugs, but I really want to see him.
But Ken doesn't show up. It's this other kid.
Pijal. Bob Hoskins goes into a brothel.
He sees this older woman, and they seem to have a connection.
Vous pourriez mettre ma chanson encore une fois, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, bien sûr.
This is your song, is it? This is your bloody song? First time I ever saw Bob Hoskins, it was in a movie about Mussolini.
Oh, yeah.
He played Mussolini.
Him?
And so every time I see him, I see Mussolini, regardless of what role he's playing. He brings a little bit of Mussolini to every part. The old lady comes in and says, don't mess with this young lady. You can mess with me, because I think we like each other. But it turns out these two are a couple, and they're playing love games. Do you love me? Are you playing those love games with me?
He has to do more and more extreme things to get aroused now that he is getting older.
You don't know what it's like for a man when it's all gone.
Just calm down, Mussolini.
What do you charge to watch an argument?
Argument clinic is next door.
This is abuse. And she storms off, out into the street, where she finds a little musical combo.
Playing the same song that was playing at the bar.
Just for her, because the guy arranged it all.
Goodbye.
Kissing you is like kissing a basket of fish and chips, you old Brit.
It's nighttime. This young American tourist is trying to find his way home.
Tobey Maguire or Elijah Wood, comme ci, comme ça, following a strange red trail.
There's blood everywhere. It's a vampire!
Who's very beautiful.
An American, you smell of substandard cheese.
And this man falls in love with her, but she's not interested in him, maybe because she's already eaten. He slips in the blood, he falls down the stairs and hurts himself real bad. He's gonna die. But the woman comes. She's a French vampire, so that tastes like Nutella.
And she turns him into a vampire. And he loves it!
Now they'll just be together forever, sucking each other out of their own necks. My notes for that one, a vampire.
Yep. I have Elijah vampire.
Père Lachaise. A young couple is in a graveyard.
This is a very earnest young man, and he's completely lacking a sense of humor.
And she likes to laugh. That's why she's visiting the grave of Oscar Wilde.
He's lying on his deathbed in this cheap left bank hotel. He can't stand the way the room is decorated, but he can't afford to move. So seconds before he dies, he turns to his friends and he says,
"Oh my God, I'm in such pain. I wish someone would put me out of my misery." She suddenly realizes that she can't marry this young man because he never makes her laugh. I want to marry someone just like Oscar Wilde. Exactly like Oscar Wilde.
And he trips and he clocks his head right on the tomb of Oscar the Wilde.
And he sees the ghost of Oscar Wilde.
If you let her get away, you'll die.
Didn't seem very Oscar Wilde-y, but it's probably something that he once said.
They kiss, and it's all gonna be just fine.
Oh, Oscar, you done it again.
You cheeky devil.
Faubourg Saint-Denis. A man receives a phone call from his lover. She is breaking up with him in a very poetic way.
But summer's over now. We missed out on autumn.
He flashes back all the way to when he first met her.
He's a blind boy. She is an actress. They meet. Francine has an audition. She's late for it.
I know how to get there, and I've got super blindness. I can get you there running.
Bonne chance.
High five. Down low. Too slow.
They end up dating, and we get to see all this stuff that they did.
In the beginning, we thought they were breaking up, but they weren't, so they're fine. Quartier Latin. An old couple meets at a restaurant. Gerard Depardieu is the maitre d'.
May I suggest you something?
She loves the crabs, and I'm not just talking about the food.
The old guy is planning a wedding. For his daughter? No, for himself. He's marrying someone who could be his daughter.
Well, you're full of surprises tonight.
But how about this one? I'm actually Peter Falk.
It's time for them to finally get divorced after all these years.
You know what I'd like to do?
No, what?
I'd like to adopt.
A French accent. This is a French movie, right? I don't know, we're speaking English, I'm confused. But they're still kind of in love with each other. Whenever Ben Gazzara smiles, he can't help but look murderous.
Thank you.
Since I cannot pay you to be in this movie, it's very low budget, Mr. Guitarra.
We pay you in cafe.
You're used to this with your history with Monsieur Casavette. The 14th arrondissement is the 18th arrondissement we'll be visiting this evening.
Je voudrais parler d'un jour spécial pendant mon récent voyage à Paris.
An American tourist wanders the streets.
She did lots of strange things, but it made her feel alive.
Quand j'ai vu tout Paris d'un gratte-ciel, je voulais dire à quelqu'un, c'est beau, n'est-ce pas?
Then I started counting arrondissements, and my trip was ruined.
There's something new in life, where you can be happy and sad all at the same time. Kind of a French feeling.
It made her feel like she was falling in love with the city, which is kind of the point of this film. After watching this movie, I only have one thing to say.
What?
Ah, the French. Paris, je t'aime. Et vous?
There's always a danger with these kind of huge mass of directors all making the same project with the same constrictions, that some of them will be rather bland. And some of them were. Much of the first half of the movie, the boy meeting the Muslim girl.
It was a nice story, but not terribly interesting.
It's the first scene of a movie. The best ones have beginnings, middles, and ends.
They're complete stories.
Yes. Making a 5-minute short film shouldn't be that hard because people do it all the time. We watch TV commercials, we get beginning, middles, and ends in 30 seconds.
Now, I agree with you, but I can also see the line of reasoning that we don't want this to be just 18 short films. We want it to be 18 separate pieces that kind of flow into each other.
Yes.
And we want this to feel like a feature movie, not just like bip, 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 bip.
The feeling of salvation you get when you get the Coen brothers bringing a style to it. When you have Natalie doing the vampire story, it's like, oh, you've broken the film, and it's 1,000 times more interesting.
I really like that he did a genre piece.
Yeah.
Like, I wish more of these were that. Even the one with the mimes. I wasn't crazy about the mimes, but I appreciated that filmmaker really stepped out.
I like the fact that there were a couple of directors who seemed to be working in other director styles. There's a story about the man who doesn't break up with his dying wife.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, from what little I know of Eric Romer, that's basically an Eric Romer movie. Depardieu's was basically a sequel to a Cassavetes movie. The ones that seemed to work least for me were the ones where people meet and get together right away, because I don't see the connection happening that quickly. The final piece, with Margot Martindale just learning how to love herself and all of Paris all at the same time, that is the one that I found to be the most romantic. It's the one that I've lived. I've been lost in Barcelona and then finally stopping and being like, wait a minute, if I'm going to be lost anywhere, I'm going to be lost in a 2,000-year-old city with so much beauty to look at.
And you're just on the right street corner or you're in the right park, and it just all comes alive in all of your senses.
Yeah.
None of them were bad.
I could have done without the one with the kids by the side of the river. It seemed to be really like, oh, Muslims are people too.
Yeah, you're right.
Which, in 2006 was probably a lot more daring to think that, and I know that there's still a lot of issues with hijabs in Paris, but still, it wasn't a very weighty story.
Well, a fun fact about Paris is that there are not 18 arrondissements, there are 20, and there were 2 pieces that were cut from this film. I'm not sure why. They were pieces that they just couldn't fit them into the story.
Darjeeling Limited came out around this time. I wonder if Wes Anderson saw this movie and is like, I wasn't invited. And that's why Darjeeling opens not in India, but in Paris, and he has a little love story, again with Natalie Portman.
Oh, the Hotel Chevalier.
Yeah, possiblement.
I have been to Paris, and I have to tell you about a weird thing about Paris subways. The Paris subway has a doorknob on the inside, and when you get to your stop, you turn the knob and open the door yourself to get off the subway. I did not know this. We arrived at our stop, we stood there, nothing happened. I was going like this, like, is it a motion sensor thing? How does this happen? And we talk, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And then I noticed this little knob that you're supposed to turn it, and that's how you get off the thing.
See, these things aren't in the tourist books. I love sometimes when I can deconstruct a scene and figure out how they wrote it. And I imagine that the Coen brothers had a tourism book, and just looked at the warnings. This is our plot. He breaks the rules and gets punished. And it'll be Steve, and it'll be awesome.
Paris je t'aime, mais oui. And now you can asseyez-vous pour Seen It.
Seen It. No.
Our theme for Seen It tonight is France movies. Not French movies, France movies. Stephen Quirk, have you seen Force Majeure? I haven't seen it either, but it's supposed to be great. Seen it.
Seen it.
This is a Swedish film, but it takes place in the French Alps, hence France movie.
And it's got a French title, Force Majeure.
A small family is on vacation in the Alps, on a skiing vacation. Something potentially life-threatening happens, and the husband doesn't react in the best way, and things kind of unravel from there.
Yes.
The problem is not that he did the bad reaction to the thing. The problem is what comes after.
To a certain point, you can listen to the husband's argument and be like, it was a crazy situation, he didn't do the right thing, and he's trying to justify it to himself. But once it's literally shown to him what he did, and he keeps going, then it becomes a lie.
I think the movie is not about necessarily the downfall of this man. It's how you can start to climb out of that hole and redeem yourself and change.
Sean Henry writes, Danton, 1983. Seen it? French Revolutionist commentary on Iron Curtain regimes. Seen it.
I wanted to, but just couldn't track it down.
A movie directed by the Polish director Andrzej Wajda.
It's about the French Revolution, though, so France movie.
And it stars Gerard Depardieu, the waiter from earlier in the episode. Danton was one of the three great figures of the French Revolution. All three of the great figures, Robespierre, Marat, and Danton, were as great as they were horrible. And then two of them crossed the line to being all horrible all the time. And Danton was like, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't chop off so many heads. And so he had to get his head chopped off. Because it's this thing, which we're in danger of at present, where one political faction moves farther and farther off to their bias. And so once you go past a point, you have to cut off the people behind you.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was French politics moving farther and farther to the left. Right now, I'd say American politics are moving farther to the right.
Right. Liz Cheney is the Danton of the Republican Party.
Exactly. So it's basically the Liz Cheney story.
Danielle Baker, I love your show. There is currently a foreign film on Netflix that I'm obsessed with. It's called Le Manoir. It's kind of like Clue, but updated and in French. Seen it?
I've not seen it.
I wouldn't say it was like Clue. I would say it's more like Scream. But this is a very funny French farce. I liked it. I did not... It had a lot of like gross out humor, like body fluids and things. I didn't care for that because I rarely do. But it has some nice twists and it has some nice strangeness.
David Brian Dobbs writes, Delicatessen!
I just saw it recently. That was on that old movie list that I made when I was 18 years old. I've been wanting to watch the movie for 30 years. I finally watched it.
It's a post-apocalyptic comedy about this strange apartment building after the end where the people there are surviving off of the delicatessen, which serves human flesh. I was 18 or 19 when it came out. And you know, when you're at that age, you just want to quote the movie that you just saw and loved. And, of course, this is a challenge when you have a French movie that has very little dialogue in it. I'd see a friend and we'd greet each other, hello, postman, hello, butcher. Because those are the only lines we can remember.
Right. If you want to go someplace and fall in love, look no further than our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see our entire catalog there. And there are also PayPal donation buttons that you can click on and make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show.
And people have done it. Matt is going to tell you about at least one of them right now.
It's Caitlin, who gave us a very generous donation and said, you guys are great. Is there anything you know so much about that its inevitably poor depiction in a film is distracting? For example, my friend can't stand films about pianists because she can always tell when an actor doesn't know how to play. This is an excellent question. And the only thing I can think of is when a character in a movie says they're from Wisconsin and they don't pronounce Wisconsin correctly. They say Wisconsin or Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
Or they'll say that they're from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. As Diane Keaton does in the midst of one of the best film performances of all time in Annie Hall.
One more thing I want to tell you, particularly you peoples who are in the European Union. I know that there were some problems with our Atomic Blonde episode, and it's not viewable in a lot of your countries. However, don't watch it on YouTube. Go to our website and watch the link that is there. You should be able to view it because that is a private video, and so it should be viewable in your country.
Oh.
All those 80s songs made it a big pain in the ass for me trying to upload the damn thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. But for you kids in America, whoa, you'll be fine.
Don't do that. They're going to flag it. Loin du 16. Oh, I know 16. Wait a second. 21, 22, 23, 25, 26. 26. Loin du 26. No, that's 26. Loin du 16.
Do you really have the courage to follow me?